You know, I always thought living in a neighborhood with an HOA would be a good thing. You know, keep property values up, make sure everything looks nice and tidy. Boy, was I wrong. My little slice of suburban paradise turned into a battleground, all because of some snow and a very entitled HOA board. It all started when I bought a new truck. Not just any truck, mind you, but a heavy-duty pickup with all the bells and whistles, including a commercial-grade snowplow attachment. I live in an area that gets absolutely buried in snow every winter, so for me, it was a practical investment. I could clear my own driveway without waiting hours, or sometimes days, for a private service. The first big storm of the season was a doozy. We got about 2 feet of heavy, wet snow overnight. The next morning, I fired up my truck, dropped the plow, and got to work. In about 20 minutes, my driveway was clear. I was feeling pretty good about myself, sipping my coffee and watching my neighbors struggle with their little snow blowers. A couple of them, the friendly ones, came over and asked if I could help them out. I was happy to do it. For a small fee, just to cover my gas and time, I cleared their driveways too. They were thrilled, and I made a little extra cash. It felt like a win-win. That's when Karen, the president of our HOA, showed up on my doorstep. She had this fake, sweet smile plastered on her face, the kind that lets you know you're in trouble. She started by complimenting my truck, then my plowing skills. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it didn't take long. She said, "It's just so wonderful that you're helping out the community." In fact, the board had a little meeting, and we think it would be a fantastic gesture of community spirit if you just went ahead and plowed everyone's driveway. I just stared at her. Everyone's driveway. There are over 50 houses in this neighborhood. She wasn't finished. For free, of course, she added, as if that was the most obvious thing in the world. I tried to be polite. I explained that the plow was an expensive piece of equipment, that the truck uses a lot of fuel, and that my time is valuable. I told her I was happy to plow for anyone who wanted to hire me, but doing the entire neighborhood for free was just not feasible. Her smile vanished. "I don't think you understand," she said, her voice turning icy. "This is a community. We help each other. The board has decided this is your way of contributing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They had decided? I told her, as calmly as I could, with all due respect, "Karen, the board doesn't get to decide what I do with my personal property." The answer is no. I thought that would be the end of it. But a few days later, I got an official letter from the HOA. It was a formal demand. It cited some vague bylaw about community upkeep and stated that I was required to provide snow removal services for the entire neighborhood at no cost. If I refused, I would be fined for not providing free labor with my own equipment. That's when I knew I wasn't dealing with reasonable people. This was a power trip. I was furious. I crumpled up the letter and threw it in the trash. Fine me, we'll see about that. I decided right then and there. They wanted to play games. Fine. Let's play. I knew another massive storm was in the forecast for the weekend, a blizzard, they were calling it. The weather service was predicting 3 to 4 feet of snow, with high winds causing massive drifts. Perfect. I made sure I had plenty of groceries, filled up my truck's gas tank, and settled in to wait. My plan was simple. I wasn't going to plow a single inch of snow, not my driveway. Not any once. I was going to let Mother Nature teach the HOA a lesson in humility. The storm hit Saturday afternoon, and it was even worse than predicted. The snow came down in a whiteout curtain, and the wind howled. By Sunday morning, it was like we were living on another planet. The world was buried. I looked out my window and could barely see the street. Snow was drifted up against my garage door, nearly to the roof. It was beautiful, in a terrifying sort of way. My phone started ringing. It was my next-door neighbor, the one I'd plowed for before. He was in a panic. He had to get to work. He was an essential employee, but he was completely snowed in. I felt bad for him, but I had to stick to my plan. I told him, "Sorry, man, the HOA has demanded I plow for free, and I'm just not doing that. You should call Karen." Soon, the neighborhood Facebook group exploded. People were freaking out. Cars were buried. Mailboxes had disappeared. People couldn't get out of their houses. The posts started out as general complaints, but then they turned toward me. "Where's that guy with the plow? Why isn't he doing anything?" Then Karen chimed in. "I have spoken with him," she wrote, "and he is selfishly refusing to help his community in this time of need." He is in violation of our bylaws and will be held accountable. Oh, the nerve. The comments section became a war zone. Some people defended me, saying the HOA was insane to demand free labor. Others joined Karen's side, calling me selfish and unneighborly. By Monday, the situation was dire. The city plows had cleared the main roads, but our residential streets were still impassable. No one could get in or out. People were missing work. One person posted that they were running low on baby formula. The panic was real. And the anger was directed squarely at people, me and Karen. People started questioning her leadership. What was your plan, Karen? Did you really think you could bully someone into plowing 50 driveways for free? What's the backup plan? She had no answers. Her only response was to double down and threaten more fines. That afternoon, I saw a tow truck with a plow attachment try to enter our neighborhood. It got about 20 feet before getting stuck in a massive drift. It was comical. The HOA had clearly hired a service, but they had waited too long, and the job was now too big for a standard commercial plow. You need heavy machinery for this kind of snow removal. The cost for that would be astronomical. My phone rang again. It was Karen. Her voice was completely different. No more ice, no more demands. She was practically begging. Please, she said, people are trapped. We were wrong. We'll pay you. We'll pay whatever you want. Just please, clear the roads. I let her squirm for a minute. I told her I'd have to think about it. I explained that my rate had gone up considerably, given the emergency conditions and the sheer volume of snow. I also told her I would need a contract, in writing, signed by the entire board, stating my fee and absolving me of any liability. And one more thing, all fines against me had to be dropped, and a public apology had to be posted on the neighborhood Facebook page. She agreed to everything immediately. Within the hour, a very cold-looking board member was at my door with a signed contract. I fired up the beast. It took me the rest of that day and most of the next to clear the entire neighborhood. It was a massive job. The drifts were taller than my truck in some places, but I got it done. And let me tell you, I was paid very, very well. The HOA had to levy a special assessment on every household to cover the cost, which I'm sure made Karen incredibly popular. The best part, the apology she had to post online. It was a masterpiece of corporate groveling. Since then, things have been quiet. I still plow for my neighbors who ask for my regular fee. The HOA has never bothered me again. Sometimes, you just have to let people learn the hard way that you can bully your way to getting what you want. And a good blizzard is a pretty effective teacher. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.